how to compile your footage into one main composition, how to work with other After Effects files, because I know some of y'all did them in separate projects, and then how to add in audio. So we're going to just get right into it. So as you can see here, I have a main project and then 3 compositions. Okay, these are all compositions, but I just renamed this one main so I can keep track of it. This one is at 1920 by 1080. As long as this is like big size, that's going to be just fine. And then what I did for these is I made them as square. So composition settings, I just made them like 720 by 720. If you want to make them square, just go ahead and hit your locked aspect ratio here. Okay, or unlock it so that you can actually make a square. All right. Um, so I just have like some images from my computer that I threw on here just so you can see the 3 different things, okay? And mine are square. It's totally fine if yours are rectangular. Okay, so I renamed this composition main by just going up here in the project panel and just hitting enter, and then I was able to rename it. So if you want to rename your comp 2, 3, and 4, you can do that as well. Okay, so how we're going to do this is I'm going to be working in main. It should just be a blank After Effects project. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab your other compositions and you are just going to drop them into your timeline here. Okay, so there's 2, there's 3, okay, and then here's 4. Alrighty. Okay, so I think they're all now starting at 0. Now, as you can see, they're all stacked on top of each other. So I can pretty easily move these around. And, you know, if this is how you want them to be seen, this is cool. Uh, Maybe for something like this, y'all know I love the blend modes. You play around with some blend modes or something here, kind of make it a little fun. But, you know, that's just one option. What I think most of y'all want to do is kind of have them side by side. So what we're going to do is we're going to shrink these down, okay? We can actually select all 3 of them and shrink them down at the same time. So I'm going to select all 3 of them here and then just click one of these nodules and start dragging and hold down Shift so that they all are the same size. If that feels a little too complicated, the other way that you can do this again is just go underneath each layer and do a transform. So you can scale things, right? And then, okay, so let's say this one's at 75 and 75. You can go set the other ones, so here's scale, so set this at 75. And again, you're not making an animation, so you don't turn on any keyframes or anything, you're just changing this. Right, so scale 75. All right, and then what you can do is you can align these exactly the way that you want them. Okay, so let's say these are looking like pretty good, but they're not like distributed exactly evenly. You know, like maybe you're having a hard time getting them to line up exactly. There's actually a panel that will help you do that. So if you don't have it over here, which you probably don't, just go up into Window and hit Align, and you're going to get this Align panel. Okay, so what you need to do is select every layer you want, or every comp you want to work with. Okay, you can do that down here or up here. I'm just holding down Shift. And we can say, okay, let's align them to, we're going to use the selection, meaning the 3 comps. We can just hit this one here and it'll align them all, you know, on the same line here. And then if we want to, so as you can see, it says align and distribute. If we want to distribute them evenly, it would be this one here. So distribute them evenly, they just change a little bit. Now I can actually change this to composition. All right, so I can now work with these um, within the composition, and I can align these to the composition. So I want to align these to the center of the composition here, okay? And then I'm just going to move this over a little bit just so it's a little more centered. Okay, so now I have my three compositions, and these will play at the same time. This one looks like it's not quite at 0, one of these. All right, so these are obviously just images, so they're not doing anything, but that's one option, okay? Another option would be to go ahead and make them larger in whichever way you want. I'm lazy, so I'm going to do it this way. Oops. All right, so I'm going to make them larger, and I'm going to use my align panel again. I'm just going to select one at a time and put it in the middle of the composition. So I'm on composition, okay? And I'll do that with the other two as well. Okay, so everything is now aligned. It's all stacked on top of each other. So what I can do is just by simple cuts, I can do like one at a time. Okay, so let's say I want each one to last 5 seconds. So they're all stacked on top of each other. So what I'm going to do is go to, there we go, go to 5 seconds. And I'm going to split these layers. Okay, so if you go up into edit, you can do, here's your duplicate too. You can do split layer, and it'll split this layer, okay? You can also do that with the shortcode. It's Shift Command D. Shift Command D, okay? So I don't want this half. I'm going to delete it. All right, so now I have two going one right after each other with a jump cut. And then I'll go to 10 seconds, and I will go ahead and do the same thing to this layer, Shift Command D, and get rid of this. All right, cool. So now I should have each of these lasting for 5 seconds. Boom, little jump cuts, boom.